Now, did you ever lose your cool and yell at her? I don't mean to be offensive, and you're not offensive at all. This is actually a really good question, and it brings up an important subject. And we're talking about alcohol use disorder. And again, if this is the first time seeing me, I was married to my wife for 25 years, and unfortunately, she passed away from alcohol use disorder 4.5 years ago. And the subject is really about, how should family react to the alcoholic in their life? And this is really the foundation of so much of my page, is to educate families on, having an understanding of what their alcoholic in their family is going through, and not to be reactive and not to get caught up into the reactionary emotions like anger and frustration and animosity, and just, and absorbing all the anxiety that just dealing with an alcoholic in your family is about. And I understand it's very stressful. So, but if you have a better understanding of what's going on, and you understand that it's a mental health issue, and then you can approach it a different way and really absorb it in a different way, as difficult as that can be, and that takes time and understanding. So let's further the conversation. And really, to answer the question, yes, of course I got frustrated and angry. I mean, how could you not? I mean, I've told many stories, like when my wife drove through the garage door, and I had to get her upstairs because she didn't even remember. Came down the next day and asked me why the garage door was destroyed. Well, you drove through it last night. That's why. I mean, impossible not to have some kind of emotional anger response, but to understand that it's a mental health disease, and you have to have that perspective as a family member, and that takes time and training, and you have to pull back your initial reactionary emotions and really be able to observe what's going on with your loved one, either your son or your daughter, your spouse, or if it's a parent or a friend. You have to have the ability to pull back, and if you can put it in the context that they have an illness, and it's not taking away their culpability, of course. They need to take care of their mental illness, but it's how you can approach it as a family member with that understanding. It's not sympathy or empathy. It's like, oh, I get it. It's not an attack on you. They're not attacking you. They just don't have any other way to express themselves. And unfortunately, the alcohol has become their solution to their problems. And I know this may be hard to understand for family members, but you're not even part of the alcoholic's equation. You're not even part of their thought process. They're not really concerned with how their actions affect you, okay? Because it becomes a very narcissistic, self-centered, thing. It becomes a very selfish disease, and it's not. They're choosing the alcohol over you. Their only choice is the alcohol, certainly in the later stages. And they don't really, and this is why it's so important to get, help to people in the earlier stages before they have this cognitive dissonance where they're not aware of their actions. As crazy and as irrational as that sound, that's a reality. So as family members, this is why we hark on this. You need to create your boundaries to the alcoholic. Even if it's a son or a daughter, if you need space, if you need time away, I'm not saying you need to end the relationship, but you need to create a boundary for your own mental health. It's also going to help the alcoholic, because if the alcoholic realizes they don't have this crutch of maybe enabling or a place to go or somebody to support them, and they realize they're the only support they have is themselves, there's a higher probability that maybe they'll reach out and do the right thing and finally realize they don't want to live like this anymore. It's always the hope. Does it always happen? No, but it's the hope. And as a family member, that's really all you can do, is react with your own boundaries. And really, to be honest, family needs to do a lot of similar exercises that the alcoholic does, because it does create a lot of stress and anxiety for the family members. In my case, I used to lift weights. Like I was in the gym 4 or 5 days a week, and I got pretty big and muscular. And it was a side note. And I think that to my wife. I mean, I got in a really healthy mode, because for me to get through my anxiety, I had to go pick up steel. I mean, just how I worked. So I always say you need to do something physical: walking, running, jogging, hiking, yoga, whatever you're into, and you need to do creative things. I mean, I've always had a creative outlet. I like to make shadow boxes and woodwork and writing, obviously. But it's important to have outlets as a family member and not to get too absorbed into the hurricane that is the alcoholic in your family. So as a family member, it's so important to take care of yourself as well and put, the hurricane that is the alcoholic in your family, you have to put that in perspective, and you can't make it the end all of your own life. You have to take care of yourself. I hope that's the biggest message here. And again, I have a complete coaching program. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. Link is in the bio. Set up a Zoom call. It takes about 45 minutes. We do a very deep dive into what's going on with you and your family. The call is free. The course definitely not. It's twofold. It's in a complete course for education for the family and the alcoholic, and then it's a 9-week course where I spend 9 weeks with you. And as long as someone needs me, I'm there for them. But we will put you on a path and give you a blueprint of sustainable sobriety for the rest of your life. And again, thanks so much for listening.